and we are just, overwhelmed is a, good word. So we need to have some help, and we're expanding the office. So in about 2 weeks, I'll have 5 more operatories, so 9 total.
Oh, wow. I like that capacity, but 9 ops. So it's like
yeah.
capacity is so important in modern day dentisting. We go through this, to reach out to Sarah and put in there, sarah.laurie@gmail.com. If you're interested in the position, you also can reach out to us at drnacho@dentalnachos.com. Farrell will put that into the comments. So let's talk a little bit about, like Dennis P. Diddy would say, Sarah, more patients, more problems. I agree. So what would an associate be doing in your practice on a day-to-day dentisting level, whether restorative? Tell us a little bit about what you're looking for them to do.
Being a general dentist, doing a little bit of everything. I would love if someone could come in and do some endo as well. I don't do any endo. I do extractions. I see kids, a lot of crown and bridge, restorative.
Sounds like a great opportunity for somebody, whether out of a residency or dental school, to come in and really dentist. I know I came up to the PAGD in Harrisburg. I know the Harrisburg area. I have some friends, some really cool friends there. And from what I sense is there's a need for some restorative dentistry in your patient population. So they will be getting that type of experience, which is great for a young dentist. So as you know, Sarah, we graduated 18 years ago. So the loans have really skyrocketed for young dentists. So when I coach them in taking positions and help them, and we actually have an associate webinar, Farrell share, on how to find a job. So tell us about what type of compensation you want, either guarantee, will you give them a safety net guarantee for your associate?
Well, the sky's the limit, but I do have a safety net guarantee because, I remember when I graduated, you want to make sure you're able to pay your student loans and feel comfortable, and your pace is not the same. So you want to make sure you have a certain amount of income. So I was thinking on a 4-day-a-week here at the office, we work Monday through Thursday, that it would be approximately, we would do $500 a day. So in a year, they are guaranteed at least $100,000.
I like that. So safety net of $100,000. But I know our dentisting people, Sarah, we're in. Hey guys, it's Paul, Dr. Nacho. Thanks for hanging with me here on a Saturday to talk about dental students, DSOs, and the future of dentisting. And we're doing one of my favorite things here. I'm going old school. I have a whiteboard. I have another whiteboard here. I have markers because this is a topic that's super, super important to me. Why are we going to talk about this topic is because there's so many changes that are happening out there in the dentisting world that it's hard to keep track of if you're not on the inside. And how do you get on the inside? It's very difficult. I have positioned myself in a unique way. So let me tell you about myself. I'll list some of my toppings here for you guys to see. So first, I am a med practice owner. So this is me. This is the Paul Goodman / Dr. Nacho. So med practice owner. So that's me, a med practice owner. I own 2 practices with my brother in New Jersey. Feel free to check them out, Pennington Dental Center and ewingdental.com. We have 3 bad associates. That's baby age dentists. We have 2 locations. And we have 3 specialist focused dentists. So one's a periodontist and 2 are general dentists that focus on sleep apnea, implants, and perio, and oral surgery. So I hang around with a lot of dentists, a lot of dental team members. So I am like a player coach. I like NBA basketball back in the day. That didn't really work out for the NBA, but a player coach where I'm doing dentistry, but managing dentistry, running around and doing different things. So now I'm a mad practice owner. I am also a practice transitions broker. Sell practices for dentists, just work on the seller side, not dual representation. I'm a buyer coach. So if you have a practice, you're like, I'm not sure if this is a good practice, or I want you to take a look at it, another broker has it, I can help you, consult with you, kind of like a caddy or a doula. If you've had a child, you might have had a doula in your life, play golf, you had a caddy, I can help you along the way, help you decide what makes sense. I've been a CE speaker, one of my favorite things, for 17 years. 17 years, I'm going to say 2000 or 15 years. Podcast, The Dental Amigos. And creator of Dental Nachos, a 19,000 member group that has all dentists in the circle of dentisting life. So I'm the founder of that. So this is the things that I do. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Before, after, during this webinar, my email is drnacho, drnacho at dentalnachos.com, drnacho at dentalnachos.com. Also, I am a huge texter, not surprisingly. So if you want to text me any questions, you can just text me questions. I like answering questions on text. That is the Dr. Nacho cell. So what we're going to talk about today is dental students, DSOs, and the future of dentisting. Write some stuff down, give you guys some information that hopefully can help you make decisions, whether they're now, whether they're later. I think one of the keys in life is to get information about a decision before you need to make it. Be proactive instead of reactive. Learning something and filing away for later is awesome. I'm currently selling a practice of an awesome practice owner who saw me over 2 years ago give a presentation on practice sales. If you text success to 267-930-2288, text success to 267-930-2288, you will get a course on practice transitions that you can use. Show it at family parties. Show it at family parties. Share it with your spouse, share it with your advisors. It tells you about the circle of dentisting life here. So let's talk about over here on my board. One of my favorite things is these white boards. Okay, so we're going to talk about dental students, DSOs, plus future of dentisting. So I am a huge fan of movies and TV. And I remember as a kid, they would say, this is based on a true story. Based on a true story. What I'm going to tell you guys, whether you're watching this now on Zoom or YouTube, whether you're watching this 10 years ago, this is based on my life experiences. This is based on somebody who owns a practice, has hired associates, who helps DSOs find practice, who helps DSOs find associates, who helps owner dentists connect with DSOs, who help owner dentists sell to regular people, help people merge, help people do everything in this dentisting space. This is based on my experiences. The reason why I've had a lot of experiences is because of this life here. So I'm telling you up front that this is based on my experiences. It doesn't mean these are the only experiences out there. So dental students, DSOs, and the future of dentisting. So what I like to start off with is, you have a practice, it does $1 million a year. Let's call it Dr. Paul's House of Dentistry and Nachos. I think that's a great name for a practice. Of dentisting and nachos. It collects $1 million a year. It has 6 operatories. And the profit, all the money, when I'm going to use profit for this case, it's just the money that the practice makes. We'll talk about EBITDA in a little bit, but it can be confusing. This is just the money the practice makes, the money that's left over after paying expenses, including the dentist salary, including Dr. Paul's salary, is $357,000. So here's our scenario. Collects $1 million a year, 6 operatories, $357,000 in profit. Nothing about EBITDA right now, just straight profit, what the dentist makes, pays the salary, pays his team, pays supplies, pays rent, does all of those things, and that's the money he has left over to take home with him. So you take a big Scrooge McDuck bag of money and take it home with him. So let's start off by talking about who can buy this practice. So if you're here on Zoom, who can buy a practice like this? I would love to say, who are some options of buyers? I love interaction, even virtually. So happy if you guys throw in the chat, who do you think could buy this practice? So who traditionally can buy a practice? So we have here a practice. Solo GP, Dr. Nacho, $1 million a year, 6 ops, $357,000 take home money. That's all. We're not talking about EBITDA right now. We're just talking about all the profit that goes to the dentist. So who can buy a practice like this? Okay, so first off is traditional. Who are the buyers? A private practice dentist. So let's say Dr. Nacho is 62 years old, wants to sell his practice, and he finds a 31-year-old young Dr. Nacho. Says he goes to a bank, takes out a loan, buys the practice. Old Dr. Nacho stays for maybe 6 months, then leaves. New Dr. Nacho takes over. So one of the key points, the take-home nachos, if you're watching this, is when you sell your practice, one of the key decisions to make is how long you want to work post-sale. Do you want to sell and run away? Do you want to sell and stay for a little bit? Do you want to sell and stay for a long time? It's one of the key points. It determines what happens next. So in this scenario, private practice dentist, the seller leaves ASAP. This is what happens most of the time. Some are going to say, oh, well, you could build it up. You have 2 dentists. This is what happens most of the time. The seller leaves ASAP. Who else could buy it? A small group of dentists. This is like my brother, me and Jeff Nacho. Okay, we have this group as we talked about. So I have 3 badges, 2 locations, 3 specialized dentists. So we could purchase this practice and we could say to the seller, let's have you stay for a year. And in fact, we're going to require you to stay for a year because we need you to cover this office. So the seller stays for 1 year plus, because I don't have another dentist to fill in. Maybe over the year I'll find one, but this is if the seller wants to stay for a year plus, sell to a small group of dentists. Another is a large group of dentists. So small group has 1 to 3 practices. We'll just say this here has 4 plus. And seller also likely stays for 1 year plus. Why? Because if you're a large group and you're buying practice or a small group, you need stability in that office. And most of the time, you're going to have the seller stay for a year. So if you're a seller and you sell to somebody like this, you might say, okay, I can stick around for a year. I'll make money as an associate. Hey, if you're a dentist collecting $700,000 a year, what you do with your own collections, your practice does $700,000. Let's just use this as an example here. Let's just say this does $700,000 of dentist money, $700 of dentist money, and $300 of hygiene. So you collect $700,000 a year, you make 35% of that, you make $200,000+ a year being an associate in your own practice. Not a bad deal. A lot of sellers who are selling like that deal. Okay, so what else do we have? We have buyers, private practice dentists, small group, 1 to 3 practices, large group of dentists. Then what about the DSO? So one of the things here, I want to dispel some of the myths about a DSO, share some of my experiences with them. Just like anything in life, DSOs can be great, not so great, or in the middle. Great, not so great, or in the middle. But if DSO wants to buy this practice, this is what you own here. You guys are welcome to ask some questions as you jumped on the Zoom here. Put in a different color, the DSO, and that will require most of the time 3-year employment agreement. So when I do case presentations, I don't talk about money up front, because once you talk about money, the person cannot forget about money. So here, I haven't talked about money for what this practice is going to be worth at all. Okay, so we have here the DSOs here on the bottom. I'll be sharing this with you the whole time. I haven't said what are we going to buy the practice for? What's it worth? We're talking about this transition strategy. Private practice, dentist buys your practice, seller leaves ASAP. Small group, 1 to 3 dentists, seller stays for a year. Large group of dentists, seller stays for a year. DSO require a 3-year employment agreement. So if you're 55 years old and you think you want to work till you're 60, this may be a great option for you if you want to stay and work inside your own practice. If you want to leave and go to Arizona and retire to play golf, that wouldn't be a good option. Any questions on who can buy your practice here from these scenarios? Okay, great. We'll move on here. Now, how much money can you make in these scenarios? How much money can you make as the seller of these practices? So we have a practice that does $1 million a year, $357,000 of take-home money. We haven't talked about EBIT or anything, that take-home money. So in this scenario here, a bank, most of the time, so let's live our lives in the most, not in the lightning. So what do banks lend most of the time? I'm not a banker. I'm going to play one on TV. They have to look into it. But most of the time, the bank is going to lend 85 to 90%. They become more aggressive. So let's just say this buyer can get $875,000 from the bank. Now, let's say they get $875,000 from the bank. It doesn't mean they're going to give you, the seller, all that money, because they need working capital. They need to get new stuff for the practice. Even if you think your practice has everything, you might have to change licenses. There's expense in transitioning a practice. They'll have expense with their lawyers or accountants. So there's going to be expense. So that's called working capital. So of this, maybe they'll offer $825,000. The small group of dentists and the large group of dentists, they're going to use bank financing here. And they're going to be in the same ballpark, $875,000 to $900,000. Perhaps these groups can do a little bit more. Perhaps the large group of practices is profitable, so they can use some of their profits to buy it. So this is using total bank financing. Bank is involved here. The large group usually needs some sort of bank. It may not, may have some private funding, but this is the scenario, bank. Now the DSO, one of the reasons they can pay more is they often have investors and they go to this big pile of money and they say, hey, we'll pay you maybe $1 million for this practice, $950,000 for this practice. So if you're playing along, most of the time, a DSO can pay more than a private buyer or a group, most of the time. Also, you're going to work for an additional 3 years, so you may earn an extra $200,000 a year times 3 years. So your total dollars when you sell to a DSO, total dollars when you sell to a DSO, let's see if we can see, total dollars when you sell to a DSO can be more than if you sell to a private buyer. Remember, the DSO is going to require you to work post-sale. Now, what is your life going to be like post-sale? A good DSO is going to make it the same. Look to make it as similar as possible. Put in a few systems, try to save you a lot of money, but not disturb you. One that might be not a great DSO, doesn't mean they're bad at what they do. If they make too many disruptive changes, that can hurt the practice. Anytime you make too many disruptive changes, that can hurt the practice. So this reviews here who can buy a practice, what DSOs do, and why they can pay more. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer some questions on that before we move on to the next part there. Okay, so we talked about this. This is just a quick webinar to give you some general information. Just want to share some general information out there in the space. Now, let's talk about the dental students and DSOs. Dental students to DSOs, to private practice, to public health. And we're talking about what's the deal with associates in 2019. One of the challenges due to the declining insurance reimbursement plus the increase in student debt equals some challenging nachos. Oftentimes, a DSO has numerous practices, people have retired, people have left, and they may be able to offer full-time employment easier than private practice. So a DSO most of the time can offer full-time employment easier than a private practice. A private practice doesn't mean they can't do that, but if they have part-time employment and a young dental student needs to work full-time, that's a problem. That's not going to work out so well for the young dentist with debt. Now, if you're a dental student and you're watching this, going from dental school into the real world is a big jump. You go from seeing just a couple patients a day, sometimes 8, 10, or 12. You have to ask the DSO, what do they expect of you? If they expect you to do molar endo in 45 minutes, that's an unrealistic expectation. And when you have unrealistic or mismanaged expectations, problems happen. So I encourage you as a dental school student to start early thinking about this, meeting people, and networking. Thinking, networking, and meeting people. I am someone who connects associates for jobs almost daily. In my experience, there are not enough full-time jobs in popular areas to live, like Philadelphia, like New York City, like San Francisco. If you want to go to a place that's less populated, more rural, as they say, you may have more opportunities, but you have to think about that. Do you have family and friends there? Do you have a support network? If you're going to go out there and work in those communities, they may not want someone who just stays for a year. That could be tough in those communities. So we really need to start thinking about this earlier. If you are a young dentist or dental student and you want some help, text ASDA to 267-930-2288, and you will get a course on how not to burn your legal and business nachos in finding a job. This scenario here is something we all need to be aware of. I wanted to make this like a TV show. I love Family Ties, Growing Pains from back in the day. So we're going to have some to be continues. We're going to talk about this stuff more. But before I leave you, I want to leave you with a couple things. One is my cell phone. If you need to text me for any reason, just text 267-896-1942. Two, if you enjoy this experience of watching stuff live streamed on Zoom, we are having the Dental Nacho Supreme CE in 2020. It's going to be 24 hours of live stream CE. Just reach out to us at supreme@dentalnachos.com, supreme@dentalnachos.com. If you want to find out how you can get a nacho t-shirt like the one I'm wearing, we have ways for you to get them for free. Just text me and I will tell you how you can get a free nacho t-shirt. There'll be a challenge involved. Text me 267-896-1942. And if you have any questions for me or I can help you, visit dentalnachos.com or just reach out to me at drnacho@dentalnachos.com. I love doing these things to create more awareness, help your dentisting. The more we know, the better it can be. A little bit better each day makes a lot better dentisting life. I'm Dr. Paul Goodman, Dr. Nacho. Visit dentalnachos.com and let's make dentisting better for everybody.